Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. We have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We have to start with the Boston Celtics. This could be just a Celtics summer, guys. It's starting to feel like it. First of all, we have Joe, who's our combine guy. That Joe has taken many weeks from the Postal Service off so he could watch the combine. Now we actually have a summer league guy, and that's the Professor. So, Professor, the summer league has started in Vegas. I thought you were going to be there. Short of that, tell me what's been going on.
Well, I think there's two things. There's this interesting little battle about which very large white wing player is going to make the team, because one of those guys is going to make the team. Yeah. Sam Hauser or Matt Ryan probably, and they're both they're sort of twins of each other. They're both shooters. They're both actually pretty big. I think Matt Ryan is 6'7", and they're the kind of guys we lost out on. We cut Max Strus and he came back to haunt that. And one of these guys could be the next Max Strus. So, I think whichever one of these guys makes the team may end up getting minutes.
But Russ, doesn't Hauser signed to a 3-year guaranteed deal?
Yeah.
And Ryan's only signed to a 2-way.
Yeah.
He's got options.
So far, but you could see the Celtics signing Ryan to the same kind of deal they just signed Hauser. I mean, he's outplaying Hauser in the summer league to date.
But I think Ryan is under contract to the Celtics already.
He could be, but they could sign him into the same deal that they signed Hauser to if they want to. Yeah, if they don't want to lose him.
He signed a 2-way, so that
but you can lose it. Remember, you can lose a guy in a 2-way.
Russ, what do these guys look like defensively?
No, as you'd imagine, a little plodding, right? As these sort of, little bit heavy-legged, but look, they're big bodies, so they're not going to get bodied around by other guys their size. The question is, do they have the quickness to be able to play in the Celtics system?
But let's not get too excited, guys. Timmy, as you said, in the playoffs, garbage time, those guys look like third graders, and summer league is basically garbage time.
These are 11th men, guys. They're, you could see a Hauser get 5 to 10 minutes a game. He would get what Neesmith should have gotten. He's your replacement for Neesmith.
Russ, how about I haven't seen any of the 3 games. How about that the big man there with the unpronounceable name?
Kabengele. Yeah, I wanted to hear Scotty try to pronounce that one. Kabengele.
That'll take a while.
He's playing really well. He's 6'10". He's got a big wingspan. But reading between the lines and what Brad has said over the last couple of days, it sounds to me like they're going to try to bring in a veteran third center and just go with like Cornette as the fourth center. I don't think they're going to risk Robert Williams and Al Horford. Both are older or injury prone. I think you got to have a veteran who can back one of those guys up if they go out.
Brad just said today, though, no more big moves.
Yeah, but I don't think there's going to be a big move. I'm talking about bringing in the center for $4 million, or the veteran minimum. Yeah.
All right, guys, don't hate me on this, but I watched during the COVID when I was in LA. I watched a lot of Lakers basketball, and I'm telling you, the guy that's rumored to come here, I know you're going to hate it, but Dwight Howard would be actually, he's behaved now. He's just on a minimum contract. He'd be a nice fit as that third center.
Well, if he's trying to get a ring, Scotty, not the worst place to land. You know?
Right.
The guy doesn't look like for his shot. He's not looking to shoot. He plays defense. He can rebound. A veteran guy, 10 minutes.
Takes up a lot of space in there.
Yep. And also 6 fouls.
How old is he now?
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his
102.
Probably. Yeah. He probably seems older than he actually is. I bet he's 32, 33. Is
that old?
Yeah, he must have come in as an 18-year-old.
He did. He came in as basically 19 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Seems like he's been around forever.
Breaking news from the Grandstanders live desk. Brad Stevens has talked about using Gallinari as a stretch 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was very interesting, which obviously replaces.
He's 6'10".
You could see that, like give him 5 minutes at the 5 if they need to optimize their offense in a game. I could definitely see that. Gives them a lot of flexibility between him and Grant Williams. They're 4.5s, stretch 4.5s.
Timmy, does it feel like with Gallinari's acquisition that, and then talk about Hauser, that the guy who's going to be out of here is Peyton Pritchard?
I think that they see something in Pritchard. I mean, I love the Gallinari acquisition. I mean, would you kind of put him Scott Wedman kind of guy?
Yeah, great comparison.
Put him,
absolutely, yeah.
In that thing, I see something in Pritchard myself. I think this kid could be another Steve Kerr. There's something in the kid I see. I see his determination, and he looks just like my nephew, so that gives me a little fondness for him.
But guys,
I see something in him. I see something worth like maybe holding on to him. Scotty, there's all those spaces on the roster. Why not keep him? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, where he's already under a guaranteed contract, being a first-round draft pick.
You know exactly what you're getting with him. I think he's got some upside.
Could he get a late first-round pick from a good team right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what we've seen is that first-round picks have been devalued. Teams are tossing them around like, they're the nickels at the bottom of their pocket, right? And so if a team felt like they had, 15 minutes a night that they wanted to play a younger player who could shoot, I could see a team taking a shot. Look, but the Celtics are also under no obligation to deal him. They could still find a way to work him into their lineup at 10 minutes a night, 12 minutes a night. But the question is that the best use of that asset?
Yeah, it feels like he's the guy out of the rotation right now, even the regular season rotation. Forget about the playoffs.
What do you give him? What are you going to give him? Another year to see if he becomes that drop dead shooter? Is he kind of like on a 1-year lease, a 1-year trial? No, or do you think he's reached his limit?
His numbers weren't bad this year. He was a good shooter.
His numbers weren't bad. I think really, I don't know how tall Steve Kerr was. I think the issue with Pritchard is how good is he ever really going to be at barely 6 feet tall, right? Yeah. Like, can a guy like that in the NBA for 5 years get his shot off enough? Even guys like JJ Redick for like 6'3", 6'4". But he could, though, Timmy. I like him too. I hope they keep him. I don't want them to trade Peyton Pritchard. I hope they keep him. He's a good player.
I just don't see a role right now.
Yeah, but he's worth more to the Celtics than a late first rounder. I mean,
probably.
Brad didn't like what Danny was giving him at 14. Why would something in the 20s be better?
Yeah, I think you'd be lucky to get a guy late first as good as him.
Well, it's interesting.
Oh, totally agree, Timmy. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
Look, I'm just talking about, like Russ was saying, his value right now, if this guy's going to sit at the end of the bench, his value
Right.
only diminishes.
It's a really good point, Scott. Like if he doesn't play much and he plays an average of 7 minutes a night and he goes 3 games at a time before getting minutes, at the end of this year, he's going to have much less value than he does right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And, the first round picks are good. Look, Brad likes to use them to acquire players.
And it would be nice to go deeper.
I'd dangle him out there for something that would have to be pretty much assured top 15 type of pick.
Well, yeah, you
probably won't get it, but that's what I'd want. That's what I'd want.
No. Look, Brad Stevens was talky, and he says they're thinking about, I guess Wick has opening that, those pocketbooks big time. He's talking about extending Jalen now.
Well, remember, it's definitely in the Celtics' best interest to try to do that because they can extend him now for a lot less money than they'll have to re-sign him for, right? So extending Jalen now actually saves them a significant amount of money over 5 years, which is why if Jaylen Brown extends with the Celtics right now, he is getting bad representation, and I think he's representing himself. It is a very bad idea unless he's worried about injury because he can make, I think, $30 or $40 million more by becoming an unrestricted free agent and re-signing with the Celtics under the bird rights.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Do you think is he a max?
Possibly more.
If he was an unrestricted free agent right now, you see him as a max player
he's
guy?
He's full-blown, full max. There's no question about it.
Look, if Matt brought it up, I assume there's some smoke there, and that he brought Grant Williams up, and then he includes Jalen. So
well, but he's got to say that I cannot imagine a scenario in which Jaylen Brown agrees to get extended unless he's worried about injury. Why would he do that?
Look,
Brad hopes he will, but that's that.
Like you said, he's representing himself.
Look, this is an exciting time. The NBA trade rumors galore. Where does Kevin Durant end up?
Wait, can I interject one thing here? I got to give Brad props. He's doing exactly the opposite of what Hein did with that team last year with the Red Sox. They had a nice group last year, and instead of kind of holding the band together and adding to the nice lineup that they had, he let it go the other way and try to fill it in with, this and that. Brad took that group and is enhancing it. I got to give him props for that.
Oh, Timmy is ready for the Red Sox already. We'll get there, Timmy. We'll get there. Kevin Durant, where's he end up? I bet he stays.
I bet he'll end up in Phoenix. They'll figure it out. They'll figure out a trade that works for him. If I'm Phoenix, I want him because I'm looking at Chris Paul saying we have a 1 or 2 year window to win a championship. Once Chris Paul leaves, we got Devin Booker, great. Nikhil Bridges, fine. They're not winning it. Once Chris Paul leaves, they're not winning a title. So why wouldn't you try to bring Kevin Durant in for 2 years?
Yeah, he beats DeAndre Ayton any day of the week.
Absolutely. That's a win-win for the Celtics. Get
him out of the conference, for God's sakes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we do not want to see him in Miami. No.
Yeah, both him and Kyrie might be out in the West. Kyrie goes to the Lakers.
Does Phoenix have the room, though? I mean, is it physically possible for them to get him?
Oh yeah,
they can trade for him. Yeah, Phoenix. They'll have to.
They've only got one max
players. Yeah, they only have one max at Booker. He just signed, so they can't trade Booker for him. But they can put together a package or sign and trade Ayton and use those assets. I think there's a lot of posturing. If I'm the Nets, man, do I really want to bring? It's like the bringing a couple of zombies back. 2 dudes who don't want to be there. Like, really? Is that what you want to do in New York?
You know what?
You're playing a little poker, trying to up the ante. That's all.
For my personal reasons, I want to see that happen.
Nobody hates Kyrie more than
Jimmy.
Nobody.
Not possible. What team do you guys fear right now, July 13th in the Eastern Conference?
Well, if Miami gets, I feel Milwaukee, with
Milwaukee,
Middleton.
Milwaukee with Middleton back. Yeah, I think we're better. I think with Brogdon and Gallinari, we would have beaten Milwaukee with Middleton. Yeah. I don't think we would have beaten Milwaukee with Middleton with in this last playoffs.
Yeah. But I I'm going to put a caveat with that because I'm hearing it over and over on these national teams. The Celtics beat Milwaukee without Middleton. You hear it, every time the Celtics are brought up, that's brought up. That's part of the game. We would if Kevin McHale hadn't get injured, the Celtics would have beat the Lakers. Okay, let's be real. It happens every
nothing away from
year.
them, and they were injured as well. The Celtics were. I just think, just observationally, look, we barely won a 7-game series against them, and they didn't have their second best player for all 7 games. Like, I think probably we would have lost, but now with Brogdon and Gallinari, I'd bet on the Celtics. I think
I see the national press though just dismissing the Celtics victory over Milwaukee.
Don't pay attention to them. They're just haters, Timmy. Like, don't even let that bother you.
They actually dominated the Bucks in that series. They were far the superior team.
Yeah, they really won 5 games, right?
Yes.
Like, at the end of the day, they should have won 5 games.
Throw out that one where Smart went mental there at the end.
Yeah.
Call that.
I unfortunately was present for that.
Yeah. We remember, Timmy. We remember the text.
But Brogdon was the missing piece. They're going to win the championship with him.
Yeah. All right. I love it.
He's gonna,
a lot of people are saying it.
Yeah, and the kid, oh my God, I heard him in the press conference. What? Jeez, I'm 56.
He's a very,
I'm sure the way he talks,
he's very impressive. Man. He is very impressive, man. He said, talk about coming into a city and saying all of the right things, all the right things.
Really is impressive. Well, I can't wait. That I don't remember a time that we were talking Celtics and opening the show with the Celtics during the summer, but it just feels right, doesn't it? It really feels like they're the number one team in this town right now.
You would have to think the Patriots are, we're looking at a 500 season probably. The Red Sox.
Come on, no.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to jump. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna say the Celtics. The Celtics are the team.
Keep your powder dry, Timmy. Keep your powder dry.
But the facts are the only team that matters right now is the Red Sox. No one else is playing.
And we'll segue. Thank you, Uncle Joe. We will segue to the Boston Red Sox. I hated the Boston Red Sox last night after that.
Oh, they threw away a game.
That's one of the worst innings I've ever seen the Boston Red Sox play.
Both sides of the inning, too.
Yeah. Is it that we don't have good enough players, or our players are numb
the wrong position?
What is it?
Well, look, or is it that we are not as good as we were when we were on that stretch, and we're probably not as bad as we are, when we look bad, and we're somewhere in the middle, and we're what? I mean, we've been saying this all along. We're at least 2 players away. We're an outfielder away, and we're a really, really good relief pitcher away. You bring an outfielder in.
A first baseman, too.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
We're an everyday player away, right?
I'd like about
first baseman.
Yeah, we need 3 or 4 relievers because it's every other night they have nothing.
Yeah, although if you bring Whitlock, if Whitlock goes back into the pen and he's healthy, that guy's worth 2 relievers.
Yeah,
he really is. He's
Bobby
fantastic.
Dahlbeck, would you agree, is not a major league ball player?
Not a major league player.
No. I had hopes that he might improve this year after a year of seasoning and have gotten used to a major league pitching, but no, he still looks like a fool up there.
Why is Hines still allowing Bobby Dahlbeck to be on a major league roster and play every night?
They don't have anybody better at this point in time. I mean, they got to get someone else in. I mean, Cass
could we put Frenchie at first?
Well,
he has. He's been playing first, and he's terrible. He lost the game last night again.
Never mind.
Right.
Second game in a week he lost because of his defensive.
Yeah.
JBJ, not a major league ball player.
No, I think Frenchie's a major league ball player. I just don't think he's a major league first baseman, right?
Yeah, let him play right field or left field. Corner outfielder is what he is.
Okay, Diekman, the left-hand pitcher, not a major
can't
league
throw strikes.
Can't
throw strikes. Right.
And now Strom, the other lefty, is out. When is your Josh Taylor coming back?
I don't know what happened to him, Joe. I like him a lot, and he's been just rehabbing. Also breaking news from the Grandstanders live desk: Kiki Hernandez may be shut down the rest of the season.
Yeah, he doesn't. Really? Doesn't sound like he's getting any better.
He said the hip doesn't. He doesn't. He's been cleared to play, but he says he doesn't feel like it.
So let me ask you, fellas, a question, right? Like, do you know how we could seriously benefit from selling players? Like if the Red Sox basically, if you were to be clinical about this, are the Red Sox capable of winning a World Series this year, even if they get the two players that we want them to bring, good relief pitcher and an outfielder?
Yeah.
Like, are they? Are they
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
If you believe that, then you don't sell. But man, there's part of me that feels like, shit, if we can't get the guys we want, you have so many guys you could sell. Holy smokes.
Russell,
yeah, Kiki must hear that, though, because otherwise, because he wouldn't be the first guy to sell.
No, Joe. No, they would pawn.
He's hurt. He's damaged goods.
I know. Now you can't get rid of him.
They'd pawn JD for sure.
JD. You could sell Evaldi. You could always sell Evaldi and sign him again because his contract's up.
JD must look like a bar of gold to some other team. I mean, he's just a hitter. The guy
they put him on the All-Star team.
If you would be blowing up the season if you traded Vasquez.
Yeah, you would be blowing it up. But if you decided, like, look, this guy's going to want $12 million a year, and look, Christian Vasquez is authoring one of the greatest salary runs I've ever seen in my life because he looks like a completely different baseball player than he did last year.
And in shape too.
It's always it's the beginning of the year. He's fine. Cora overuses him, and he's a shell of himself late. Tech was the same way. Frank Coney used to do that to Tech.
Guys, Joe has a great point. Vasquez plays every freaking night. It's unbelievable.
Well, even when Plawecki starts, he ends up coming in defensively.
Plawecki is supposed to be a good hitter, and Vasquez is twice the hitter that Plawecki is, and Plawecki's a terrible defender.
So you could sell Vasquez. You could look if you're not going to sign Xander, trade him.
They have to sign him, Scotty. They have to sign him.
Well, did anyone hear John Henry's comments today?
No.
Oh, not good, boy. Your heads are going to explode when you read it because it was classic. You can't sign everybody. It takes two to tango. We're trying to build up our system from top to bottom. We're spending a lot of money on operations. It is not hard to read between the lines.
Wow.
It is not hard. We've signed guys before. It hasn't worked out. We've obviously tried to sign guys in the past and it didn't work out, like Mookie. We have to take, it was all the things that you would be saying if you were an owner to prepare your market for, we're not signing Xander. And unless we can come to an agreement with Devers, that's not even guaranteed. It was bad.
The moment
he made the comments to Alex Spear today.
That's it.
Yeah. Once he starts talking about we're sinking money into operations and the farm system, that's all I need to hear. Like, dude, it costs $100. You hire a high-end data scientist, it's $200,000. That's it. You can hire 20 of those, and before you get to the salary of some of these guys.
So they're going to blow this team up.
I don't know if they're going to blow it up. I felt like, hey, well, we'll sell and we'll buy at the deadline, but get used to the fact that Xander's not going to be a Red Sox next year.
Do you think Henry just hit a point? They had a run of paying guys salaries who weren't playing here. Do you think he had a come to Jesus moment where he just said, I'm just never going to do this again?
No.
I don't know.
This is my theory. He won 4 World Series here. He has moved on.
He thinks his job was done. Yeah.
He goes to Liverpool and they dote on him and his wife. He likes it overseas now. Last thing he wants to be doing is sitting in Fenway Park on a June game. He's done with us. I told you before he should sell the team.
You're right, Scotty, if that's going to be his attitude.
When I see guys like Steve Cohen of the Mets, who's enthusiastic, got plenty of dough, wants to win.
And in first place.
And, and Henry's never going to be that. And with what Russ has said, if they get rid of Devers, why do we even have the Boston Red Sox?
So you think he's just looking at it strictly as a profit loss thing right now?
I think it may be a line item at this point. Because
that's not good.
So this is what Henry said today. It's difficult for any team in baseball to keep their team together, especially great teams together for a long time. It's very difficult unless you have a really strong organization, a foundation for your organization. And even then you have to make tough decisions. What does that sound like? You know what? In baseball, you can keep your team together. There's no salary cap, John. There's no salary cap in this. You can say that in football, you can say that in basketball, and you can say that in hockey. This is the one sport that you can keep your team together.
It sounds like the tough decision is, see you later, Xander. We're buying on Devers.
Look, I think they can pull it off as PR wise if they re-sign Devers and trade Xander.
Oh, they're going to re-sign Devers. I can't see any other scenario they could go.
But PR wise, can they survive that?
Yes, they can survive that. They can survive that. Barely, they can survive that. But by the way, Joe, you know, they should have signed Mookie Betts. Absolutely could have. And they didn't go the extra mile. And Betts was like, screw it, I'm going to go to free agency. If Devers does not get a deal that he wants and he decides to go to free agency, the dude's gone. He's gone. Once these guys go to free agency, they never come back.
Well, we're going to see what it's going to cost, because Aaron Judge gets his money at the end of this year, and that it'll have to be the same kind of money as Aaron Judge is going to get.
Well, look, the Red Sox fans aren't going to stand in this town. I don't want to jump to the Bruins, but Charlie Jacobs, I don't know if he was just, whatever he said, that the Bruins, you cannot spend less in this town and expect the fans to show up. There will always be a to the cap team. The Red Sox always have to be an over the cap team, luxury tax team.
Well, Scotty, they should be. They get the highest prices of any team in the country. The concessions are ridiculously priced.
Ridiculous.
They make tons of money on parking and real estate around that park. I mean,
they make more money on Nesson. Nesson makes more money.
They own their own TV station. They should be in the top 5 teams in spending every year. Every year.
They are, though.
Are they still?
Yeah.
Well, they're spending in the wrong places then.
The question will be, Joe, after this year and a lot of this money comes off the books, what do they do next year? I agree with you that they are, because there's a long tail. They've got Sale. They have to live with that contract. They've had to live with the Price contract. They've had to live with these contracts that Dombrowski signed. The big question is a lot of the Dombrowski stuff comes off the books after this year. What do they do after this year?
You think John Henry has a dartboard in his house with Dombrowski's picture on it?
Well, but Dombrowski win him a.
He did, but you wonder if that really matters to him versus the red.
I think it does. Look, I think those guys. Look, we'll take overall. Thank God for John Henry in that group, right? I mean, they gave us 4. They gave us titles that we never thought we were going to win, right?
Never. My mother's sitting here next to me. She said her father said he just wanted to live. Yeah, to see the Red Sox win a World Series. He died in 1959, I believe. So, we got to see them win 4, which I thought I would never see them win in my lifetime.
Never.
So. Look what Dombrowski did with the Phillies. Signed Schwarber and Hand, and they've been outstanding.
Yep.
He made moves that Hine did not do.
Well, we all know why Hine was. We know why Hine was brought in here, because John Henry's looking at a team paying a quarter of what he was paying his salary, and they'd come up and beat the pants off us. And Henry said, "Come and do that here."
Here's the thing that bothers me is, and maybe Chaim, that maybe we're not giving them enough credit, and they'll end up like, it doesn't have to be all of one or all of the other, right? Dombrowski basically traded everything out to win a title. And right now, it seems like the Red Sox are moving toward the Tampa Bay model. Isn't there a middle ground? Isn't there we're going to spend well above the cap, but we're not going to trade every friggin' prospect?
I got a question. I got a question for all three. I got a question for all three. Is if you own the Red Sox right now, would you give Xander a big contract?
Yes.
No.
Oh, I love it. Yes and no.
Russell,
but right now, the guy that invented the Tampa Bay model is the general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and no one spends more than the Los Angeles Dodgers. So you can see that Tampa Bay model can be manipulated.
When you have an owner.
Never won.
Yeah, right. Timmy, I started the year saying in all offseason I wouldn't re-sign him, and I'm now at the point where I think you resign him. He's like Bergeron territory, and I think he's a level-headed enough player where in 2 or 3 years, if Mayer is up, you go to him and say, we need you to move to third. We need you to move to left field. And I think at that point in time, Xander will have gotten his money, he will have won titles, and he'll step aside and
Now,
and
is
switch
he
positions.
still statistically at the bottom of the heap defensively?
No, I think he's
No.
improved this year. Yeah.
I mean,
Stories made him look a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
also,
I
remember,
think you're
guys,
right.
he's established himself that he can play in Boston, and that's not
Yes.
always true for these guys.
So
And
I would sign him. Yep.
why are we getting rid of good players, Joe?
Well, no, it's not that. It's Boris is going to want shortstop money, which is $35 million a year. They're not going to go for that. He's not worth it. Especially Boris is going to ask for like 6 years. He's only good for another 3 tops.
Look, you got to be very careful because the Yankees could take Xander and Devers. And how's that going to look?
No, they won't. They
Well,
won't.
you know, it's what
They
else you
won't
could do.
because this is a different Steinbrenner in charge now.
But
This
also,
guy's cheap.
what else can you do with that $35 million? That's the question, right?
Well, they're,
Right.
you know,
You sign Devers with it.
look, they're going to have $96 million budget right now for next year, like Russ said. 96. What's their current budget? 236?
They're over 240. I know that.
That's a lot of money to spend.
They have 96 coming off the book next year.
No, their budget next year right now is not. They have 96 on the books.
Yeah, they should have about $100 million to spend next year
Yeah.
to get to a threshold, to get to the tax.
So needless to say, the Red Sox have to do a lot of things. And look, the season ticket base could go away very quickly. They struggled because of COVID. They lost a lot of season ticket holders. A lot came back this, late last year and into this year. But if you lose a Xander and a Devers, who's showing up to the Red Sox?
And it's getting tougher for season ticket holders. There's not as much parking anymore. It's getting hard to get to the games now.
Yeah, they're
A lot of people don't like, parking, a mile away but they, there's a lot of older guys. They don't want to take the T. They don't want to be in the crush.
Is this a big week? Could we become sellers if we spit the bit against Tampa and the Yankees?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're in pretty good position in that wild card. And with 3 wild cards, we'd really have to go into a skid, right? To go into full sell mode.
Just so you know, the Orioles to start the season, 1,000 to 1 to win the World Series.
They're over 500.
1,000 to 1. Oh my God. If you're just smart, you have to at least put $20 on that, right? I mean, just if like every other team dies in a plane crash or something. I mean, there's this when you get sports odds for 1,000 to 1.
Scotty, put 20 down for me, will you?
No, now
I'll give it to you next time I see you.
Oh,
No,
now it's shortened up.
Sure,
Okay.
it's not 1,000 to 1, but
Now
wow.
you'll get 100 to 1.
All right, go the Patriots, and it happened. It happened last night. We've waited for it. Nikhil
Man.
Harry is no longer a member of the Patriots.
The
Won't
era
be the
is
same.
over.
A conditional 7th round pick.
Oh, it's conditional?
2024.
No,
2
wait,
years
wait.
from now.
I thought
2
it was
years
a
from
7th
now.
round pick. There's a condition?
I don't know.
And it's 2 years from now. It's 2024.
I thought I saw the word conditional, and I'm not
It is
positive. I thought I did.
What's it conditional on?
If they have 3, they can give you any one of the 3.
Oh, but we can still get a pick.
Oh, yeah. But
I
it's
want them to keep that
2024.
pick.
It's 2 years removed. It's not even in next year's draft.
I
It's in the
want
draft
something.
after that.
No, I want something for Nikhil Harry that we can turn to so many years later and say, all right, well, that was the Nikhil Harry tree.
Who was the scout that said pick him? Or was it Belton?
Whoever was the West Coast scout, the Pac-10 scout, was the one who probably put his career on the line. Said, "You got to take this guy."
So Joe, you don't put him in front of Kenny Sims, huh? You think Kenny Sims is
No,
still
game
worth it?
day was special.
day.
He was the number 1 overall pick,
I know.
not the 30th pick, the number 1 overall, and he was a dog.
Oh no,
Even his teammates hated him and said he was a dog.
He played all right. I mean, we didn't play to that caliber, but he played fine. I mean, not. I mean, he was an average lineman, Joe.
Who was the G?
Average?
I mean, he was the number one pick. Oh, I mean, everybody said he was the number one pick, right? I mean, not just the Patriots.
He was coming out of Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, he was dominant. Russ, is Nikhil Harry the worst pick in the history of the Patriots?
Got to be right up there, right? Given the fact of how much they needed that to work out, right? They needed that pick to work out.
I've got a better one for you. How about when they had the last pick in the draft and San Fran had the first pick of the second round? They swapped picks.
I know.
And San Fran took Jerry Rice. And we took clever Trevor Maddich. He sucks. He does college football now because he never could play in the pros.
He was
a center they took and let San Fran take Jerry Rice.
And NFL Network had Jerry Rice as the number one player in the history of the NFL, right?
Did they?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that makes this pick so bad is the receivers that were taken after him, right? Like, the DK, when you see DK Metcalf and Debo Samuel and those sorts of guys, and you realize,
and the kid that just got traded to Philly there from the Titans.
Yeah, AJ Brown, right?
Painful. So, I'm pretty positive about the offense. I think that the offense is going to be top 10 in football. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you, the national press doesn't have it like that. They have the offensive line is like 17th, and the wide receiver core in the bottom half, and the running backs in the bottom half.
Oh, geez, I don't see that at all. In the national press, they got the running backs is either number 1 or 2. They got the offensive line top 5.
Oh, not. I was listening to a show the other day. It didn't sound good.
Well, what do you guys think? We don't need to know.
Pro Football Focus and the NFL Network all have the Patriots in the top 10.
Really? That's not what I was hearing the other day.
My concern about the Patriots is just the offensive line, and we saw what Mac Jones was like in the first part of last year when their line was not good, and he was not good. I mean, he was okay. And if that line can't protect him, he did. But like, if the line doesn't protect him, there's only so good that he's going to be this year.
Yeah. Do you think Isaiah Wynn's gone, Russ?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the offensive line expert, but it doesn't sound like the Patriots are too high on him.
Well, no, but tackles don't grow on trees. They're hard to find.
Who would replace him?
You know what you ought to do is go to the NBA and guys that don't make it as centers. Get some of those 6'9", 6'10" guys.
I think Trent Brown probably moves over to left tackle, and they fill in with Onwenu or something like that, a right tackle. I would assume
the kid they just one of the.
Are we really serious about Wynn leaving?
Yeah, but what would you get?
Well, he signed for the year. They exercised the option on him, Tim. But they've never been wild about him because he's not always there. He only plays about half the games.
But it'd be similar to a Trent Brown deal. You'd only get a 5th or 6th round pick.
Yeah, you're not going to get much. Well, you never know. Some tackles are hard to come by, and left tackles even more so.
That was a first-round pick.
Yeah, he's not a standout, but he's not a schlub either.
Is he out of position, Joe? Do you think he's out of position as tackle? Do you think he should be a guard?
Well, that's what they said he should have been when he came out of college. Yeah. He was going to move to guard. I don't know because he never played it really here.
But he's got the body of a guard. He really doesn't have the body of a tackle.
He doesn't seem to have the height, the length that you want. He's got short arms, things like that.
Why do you think that Bill Belichick is focusing on the offense in the offseason, personally coaching them up when he never did that before?
Well, taking care of the young quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joe.
He wants them to develop, not end up being, one of these guys that becomes a shell-shocked Sam Donald type, a Jim Plunkett. Remember Jim Plunkett when he left here?
Oh yeah, he was a
His
shell of
confidence was
himself.
shot.
Yeah,
Because we had no offensive line. He was getting killed every week.
you got to give the Patriots credit for how they did handle him in his rookie year. I mean, there was a lot of rookies out there that were thrown to the wolves, and they seem to have not really done that with this guy.
Does Belichick just realize it's an offensive-oriented league, and we just probably need a team that's going to score 35 to 42 points a game?
Well, they keep orienting the rules for more offense. That's pretty obvious.
You satisfy the fantasy football players. That's what it's all about. They're the ones that tune in every week.
All everybody talks about on defense is this kid Jack Jones for what is he, a 4th round pick out of
I think
Arizona?
it was third round.
3rd round pick. That's a heavy load just because we got rid of an all-pro.
Is this the short safety?
No, this is the kid from ASU that I think
he had a lot. He got kicked out of USC. Was it USC? He got kicked out of for he flunked out, and there was some other issues, some shoplifting issues, things like that.
What position is
he? Shoplifting? Come on.
He's a cornerback.
He's a cornerback.
Cornerback and a returner.
But you're going to need
this kid. Okay. I know who you're is he on the short side, though? Is he on the smaller side?
Not particularly. No.
Okay.
He's good size for a cornerback. About average size.
I'm thinking of this 5'9" guy.
You're thinking about like the 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, hits like a bazooka.
Marcus. You're thinking about Marcus Jones.
Yeah.
But doesn't it look like the defense right now on paper is worse than it was last year?
Yep.
They put a lot into these guys who were injured last year, being really stepping up. These guys better step up. We're in a lot of trouble.
I mean,
second-year guys better go. I can't. They got no defensive line. They got Barmore and Lawrence guy. What are you gonna do? Play a 2-5?
And we have not been able to stop the run very well, Joe.
Yeah.
The last couple of years. That's look, I think this
pass rush either.
This team's going to be all about the line play on the offense and defense. I'm not optimistic about the level of line play they're going to get.
It feels like a team that's going to make some acquisitions during training camp.
Maybe.
Defensive ends.
All of a sudden, they're going to be looking for some veterans across the league who are getting cut and hoping to get the lightning in a bottle a little bit.
That's a dangerous way to go into a season, Scotty.
It just feels like they actually have a lot. I think they have like 4 or 5 spots on the 90-man roster free. So they're going to look to bring in guys.
And no one has offered Collins, Vanoy, and Hightower or anything.
Remember, for like 20 years, we were the team that apparently every NFL team couldn't wait to see who got cut.
At the end of
ravage the Patriots and stuff. We don't have that problem anymore, do we?
No, we don't.
No, they get right through waivers now.
I don't think we're going to need very much to worry about other teams rating our roster this year. Just a while.
I was always a big Jamie Collins fan. Do you think he's got anything left in the tank?
No, he's done.
No, he didn't even play last year.
He was bad last year.
So
remember watching that Buffalo game and just all of us being amazed at how little team speed that the Patriots had?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Part of that.
That was a lousy way to end the season. That just left you feeling empty. Like it made me left feeling if they didn't do a lot between then and now, it was going to be bad, and they did not do a lot. So,
well, it looks like they got some speed on offense. They didn't get fast. Russ asked, he begged, but they didn't get speedy on defense.
They did not get speedy on defense. Yeah, their only hope is that Godchow plays better, and then the unproven linebackers, Uche, McMillan, and the other kid, right, is they all play to their capabilities, but
don't get hurt.
This feels like it could end up a 5. And how many games are we playing this year? 17?
17. Yeah. We don't have to make predictions right now, do we?
No, but I'm just saying, I would not be shocked if we were 5-12. Would you guys be shocked if we were?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised.
I think Belichick's too good. I think it's 500.
Yeah.
He'll coach them to 500.
I think it feels like
get 8 eight wins just on the coaching alone, usually.
Feels like 9-8 to me right now. I'm not predicting that, but that's kind of what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Game over 500.
All right, we go to the Bruins. There was a press conference, like I mentioned before, and the Jacobs. What's the Jacobs' son? What's his name? Charlie.
Charlie's the one most involved with the team.
He was pumping Neely and Sweeney's tires. What do you think of that?
Well, they should not be pumped because the reason the Bruins are in their predicament now is their horrible drafts over the last 3 or 4 years. That's why they're in a position where they have to go out and find players as free agents. They're not coming up through the system anymore. I mean, they're not. You should have at least 1 or 2 guys in the draft every year that make the big squad, like within a couple of years, and that's just not happening right now.
Yep. These guys didn't pan out, Timmy, right? Studnicka. You go down the list of guys that got hyped up as, the next big thing, and they just JFK the kid, like you go down the line and Bjork, Studnicka, JFK, you go down the line and none of them really panned out.
Was it a few years?
But you know, it is Cam Neely and, kept all the Shirelli scouts. They all sucked. I don't know where they stand now, but
yeah, I mean,
when they grabbed the 3 with DeBrusque and Saboral and the other guy there.
That was the 13, 14. That's when they had 13, 14, 15, right, Jack? Joe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. DeBrusque, Saboral.
So you get DeBrusque out of that. I mean,
the other guy.
You're picking 13, 14, and 15. All 3 of those guys should be playing on this team with major roles.
Yep.
Right
Yes.
Now they made a trade today. Hala is gone.
Yeah.
I kind of liked him.
They got rid of his contract?
Yeah, they picked up a younger center who had roughly the same production as Howla had last year.
It wasn't too bad.
Free agent.
Yeah.
And then they also picked up a local kid because God forbid we don't pick up as many local kids as possible.
Do you know who the local kid was, Scotty?
Who was it? Gomez?
The season's ticket holders like the local kids.
Was he a Northeastern kid?
No, I think a BU kid.
Okay.
What I'm telling you though, Scotty, is put your hard hat on because sometime in the next 24 hours they're going to announce that Bergeron and Krejci are coming back.
Yep.
Well, Krejci's back, right?
No, not yet.
He's gonna be, but it feels inevitable.
If they want Pasternak, Krejci's back.
I told you that a year ago. If you remember, I told you he was going to come and torture me again.
Well,
yep.
He sucked 2 years ago. He's still going to suck.
Well, he didn't suck, though, Joe. He was playing good with Hall. He was playing very good. The Hall and him were playing great. Yeah, well, they worked well together. And I'll tell you, if Krejci's coming back, if it's anything, it was like when he left.
That's the way, Timmy. There you go, Tim. That's my boy. That's my boy, Timmy.
He was on his last legs 2 years ago. He didn't get any better. He didn't get any better.
He played
Russell,
great with
when
Hall.
they put Hall and Krejci together.
Oh my God, Russ is just
they were clicking.
To torture
I know.
me. He's totally just.
But if that's what it takes to get Pasternak signed, that's
Hall
what
was.
we'll do.
Hall was good for Krejci. Krejci was good for Hall. You put Pasternak on that line.
Goals.
You have 2 number 1 lines, Timmy, right? 2 number 1 lines.
I agree.
2 number.
It's the 3rd and 4th lines we're worried about.
God. Oh, what?
I don't know.
Are you growing your own pot now?
Scotty, mark my words. Hall and Krejci will have good years.
Yep.
Mark my words.
Timmy. I'm with you, Tim. Sign me up.
So what do we
Sign me
have?
up.
Who's on Bergeron's line then? Marchand's not coming back till December, right?
Well, it'd be DeBrusque,
DeBrusque
and
Pasta.
whoever in Marchand eventually.
And Pasta, right?
Well, no,
No.
Pasta ended up the year. I think we're putting Pasta on the Krejci line because Krejci's a number 1 center, number 1A center.
Oh, you just really seriously? So you're smoking crack?
1B. I'll give you 1B. You got 1A.
He's
Bergeron,
never going to
1B
put him
Krejci.
in front of Bergie.
Oh my God! And then who's going to be the 3rd line? Gordon Hayward?
Charlie.
No,
Charlie
Coyle.
Coyle. Charlie Coyle.
No, this is all working out. Stanley Cup or bust.
And then Jake DeBrusque has decided he has taken his trade request.
I wonder what caused him to do that.
Yeah.
So
Lack of a coach.
And then Sweeney's like, "Oh, well, we're talking to David Krejci. We just hope that he'll sign with us." Seriously? How did we get to
Scotty,
that?
I'll tell you.
No,
I'll take
what
him
he's
over with that.
hoping is he'll stretch those Krejci negotiations out as long as he can, get Pasternak signed, then say, David, hit the road
No.
back to
Hey,
Czechoslovakia.
I'll take Krejci back over that bag of pucks we
Jimmy.
got on the bottom two lines there. I'll take him back.
Tampa Bay Lightning are just shaking in their boots now because the
No,
Bruins-
but Scotty, who's better than Krejci that's in that lineup right now? He's better than what's there.
Why are we bringing back the old band?
Because he's better
Because
than what's
the
available.
old band came back. Bergeron came back. They wouldn't be signing Krejci if Bergeron was leaving.
No, I think
Scotty,
Joe's right. I
Scotty,
think
it's
just
who's better
Yeah.
than him. Give me somebody who's better than him. There isn't
Right
anybody.
now, you really have a problem more on defense. McAvoy's not coming back. He's getting he had both. No, it was Marchand that got both hit. It's not.
But I think Charlie's a shoulder, right? Is Charlie
Yeah.
a shoulder?
Charlie's shoulder. He's not back till December though. Grizzlick, is he back?
Well, they got some young D down in Providence, so maybe we'll get to see some of those guys.
Oh, that's why this new coach is coming in, because they're bringing up a lot of young kids.
They had some good guys in the pipeline on D down there, I thought.
Well, doesn't this team need to get young?
Yes, eventually, but you don't get young when Patrice Bergeron comes back and plays
Yeah.
one more year.
Yeah.
You just
And,
don't. Like,
and
that would
David
be
Krejci
stupid.
comes back. and plays
Who's
one more
better?
year.
Who's better? You put your best available guys on the ice.
So we're just gonna have a.
That's not
Scotty,
always what they're trying to do, though, Tim.
I'm just glad. I'm glad after this conversation that you agree that it's the right thing to do to bring Krejci back. I'm really you're a bigger man than I am. I'm glad that you admitted that. For all of Brookline.
No, Kelly Olynyk could be the signing for the final.
Scotty,
Oh, God.
you're so anti-Czechoslovakian, it's unbelievable.
Really?
You're anti-Czech.
Oh, he's
Yep.
pro pasta.
No, but this is what we talk about in all sports. Just that middle hell, that middling, not too good, not too bad. Don't get top picks. For the Bruins, make the playoffs, get eliminated in the first round. How is anything different than what
They got to get rid of Sweeney. He's just horrible in the
Yep.
draft. He's horrible in the draft. Scotty, that's why we're at where we're at now. You missed it. You had a restroom break there or whatever. I think that was record time. That could be a new record. Scotty, the reason we're in the spot, I just said a couple.
coming back.
The reason we're in the spot now is Sweeney's drafting those picks that only DeBrusque's getting any ice time when we had 13, 14, and 15. His draft picks aren't panning out. Those bottom two lines should be filled with the last 5 or 6 years of draft picks, and they're like none of them can be found.
Charlie Jacobs said we have over a 600 winning percentage with Sweeney and Neely. They're not going anywhere.
What did the Red Sox used to say? We were in first place 80% of the year.
Spend more days in first place than any other team.
But
Until they started
recognize,
drinking beer.
But you know what?
Fried
Us
chicken.
Bruins fans were like lemmings. We'll go. We don't care. We'll go.
No, but he did recognize, which I like to hear with the ownership groups, is that they do compete with the other teams in this town. That they're very cognizant about what the other teams are doing, and they kind of understand that there's a pecking order, and they want a piece. They want to,
Oh, especially their tenant, Scotty, the Celtics.
Yeah, you can't, and that's what I'm saying. Does John Henry understand that with the Red Sox?
Like
Oh,
you said,
wow.
John. It's like you said. We're a line item for John Henry now.
Yep.
Well,
This-
now
agree
John
with that.
Henry owns the Pittsburgh Penguins,
Yep.
those usurpers of our colors.
Jim Armstrong, the new coach. You like him, Timmy?
I like him.
Tim
Yeah.
Montgomery.
Is it
Montgomery.
Montgomery?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like him. I mean, what's not to like so far? He seems, he had a booze problem, like a couple people I know. He overcame it, and I think he was probably working on 5 or 6 cylinders before. He'll probably be working on all 8 cylinders right now.
So it's just a matter of they need a new voice. At least that's what they think.
They need someone else picking draft picks, as far as I'm concerned. I think that's
Well,
the
I think
reason
they
where
have
we are where
revamped
we are
them.
now.
I think they have revamped the scouting staff. But Neely's was loyal to a lot of people. They hired their buddies in those jobs.
Hey,
Hey,
listen,
what
if you
happened to the
if you
Swedish guy, there was the first round pick last year.
The kid that can skate like
Oh,
crazy.
Lysol. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's going to be in camp. They may have given him a shot at making the team. Who knows?
What's he, 17 now?
No.
No, you got to be 18
He's
to
like
get drafted.
yeah,
Joe.
I think he's 19 or 20 now, Joe. Yeah.
No, it was a special draft, Tim. He was drafted at like 16.
Is he a
Really?
legit prospect?
Yo,
He's got
God,
wheels.
yeah. No, I mean, I think he's considered to be the him, and there's the kid, there's the defenseman, Timmy, that is the Murray or something like that, that is either Lysell or him are their top prospects.
You think we'll see? I won't be surprised if Lysol makes the squad. I mean, they got to give him a try.
He's a little small, like Tim, and I guess they want him to grow a little more and fill out before they put him on the small ice, because he's used to he's used to those big rinks over there in Europe.
Do the Bruins make any splashes? Big.
He's 19, Joe. He's 19 years old, and he's 5'10", 175.
Okay, yeah, and he's been in the organization now a couple of years.
Second. Well, this was his
so he's 17.
First full year.
Yeah, he's 19 right now. You got to be 18 years old to get drafted into the NHL.
Yeah,
well, if we're bringing in old players, do you guys have any interest in Malkin?
Is he available?
Yeah, they don't have. Cat.
Crosby was down his house the other day.
Yeah, although they have no cap space. I don't know what they're going to have to move guys to bring anyone else in. So
talk about old. He's got to be 40.
Yeah.
Right?
So
he was a great player though. He was fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was old school. Where would you? How do you rank the teams in Boston right now, just in terms of closeness to the championship?
Oh, great question.
Celts got to be number one.
Celts got to be number one.
Celts are one. Red Sox 2, probably.
Yeah.
Red Sox 2, yeah.
Patriots 3.
Patriots might be fourth now. I don't know.
They could be fourth.
I think the Bruins probably have a better shot at the cup. I mean,
because as you know, Timmy, a goaltender gets hot in the playoffs. All of a sudden, you win a series or two that you shouldn't have won, and you're in the finals. And then who the hell knows what happens, right?
You know, we got a couple good defensemen if they're all healthy. You know, hot goalie. We still have the best first line in hockey.
And we have a second line that's going to be as good as the first line once David Krejci comes back.
Oh my God, I can
two
see
first lines. We have two first lines.
David Krejci's going to be on the fourth line.
Two first lines.
Krejci's got to be setting Hall up for one time this all day.
All right, David Krejci, the over/under right now, 8 goals. Over/under.
Oh, over. Way over.
Yeah,
he's going to have
15.
Yeah,
15 to 20.
20 goals.
He's next to Lucci. He's the king of the empty net goals.
So how old is Krejci now?
36. Yeah, 36.
There's still some gas in that tank.
Plenty of wheels, plenty of tread in the tire. He's
plenty of tread in that tire, Scotty.
Yeah, 1B.
Jaromir Jagr is still playing, and he's 50.
Wait, what did Scotty Bowman got all this publicity? He tweeted that he no longer works for whatever team and he's available. And he's like 100 years old.
Oh, is that right? That's good.
Yeah, so that got a lot of play today. They were like, okay. And so Jagr did like a joke tweet that he's available to play at 50 something years old, and just.
That's funny.
Imagine hanging out with like Jagr and Ovechkin and try to match them beer for beer. You know what I mean?
But I think it's been very good that ESPN has hockey. There's a lot more talk and exposure for the NHL now that
I'll tell you, it's becoming more of a national sport. You look at college rosters right now. There's kids from Texas, California, Florida, all these states that never produced hockey players before are now producing Division I college hockey players.
No, but I mean,
there never were rinks before. Now that you get rinks like at UAB. You know,
it's just, you know, it's a great sport. You do not have to be, you know, 6'3", 230 and run a 100-yard dash and, you know, in lightning fast. You don't have to be an absolute giant. You can
it's a lot more expensive though than track and field.
Yeah, but you can be a regular sized human being and be a good hockey player. That's what I like about it.
Well, they have a national contract now, and that was everything. All right, boys, that's our show. That's our show for tonight. I want to thank Ian behind the scenes. I want to thank the fellas. Please remember to follow us on Spotify. the Grandstanders. This is going to be life-changing for you. I know it's changed thousands of lives already. Our show heals the sick. We'll be back next week at 6 o'clock. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.